3-1 win against Nacional at just 17, 2 months and 6 days old, becoming
these type of performances time and time again from these young Brazilian players that go on to play in Europe are really outrageous. I think the story gets way more interesting when you get into the Real Madrid part of things. But as we're seeing the numbers he was putting up in Brazil, the performances he was putting up, the way he was able to impress all of those around him, the journalists, the fans, the coaches, there was no way that Real Madrid wasn't going to come for him. There was no way. Rodrygo, similar to Neymar, similar to Endrick, Real Madrid have done an amazing job with yet another young Brazilian talent. We're going to react to another video from my boy Nabito. Excellent video here, and we'll see how Rodrygo was able to come up from humble beginnings in Brazil all the way up to where he is now. But without wasting any more time, guys, let's get straight into it.
Rodrygo is one of the best and most underrated players in the world right now. His
already massive statement, and I have to agree with him. Especially what Rodrygo was able to do last year in the Champions League. This man was able to come for Real Madrid in key moments of the season.
Journey to being a top footballer is unbelievable too, with him coming from a poor background in Brazil to then becoming an important piece in one of the best clubs in the world, Real Madrid. Now, Rodrygo's time at Real Madrid hasn't been the easiest, with him having some poor moments which caused a ton of Spanish reporters to ask the club to sell the player. However, despite Rodrygo having these setbacks,
something we need to talk about a lot more is the pressure in Spain. Those Spanish journalists put a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure in a lot of these young players. Again, Real Madrid, biggest club in the world, most prestigious club in the world, won the Champions League 14 times. We understand it, we get it. There are big expectations, but the way some of the Spanish media is talking about the young players, they really need to calm down. Really need to calm down.
Didn't let these moments define him and is continuing to become a special and important player for Real Madrid. Facts. So, how did Rodrygo come out of nowhere and become the next big thing in football? Well, let's take a look at the rise of Rodrygo's career. Rodrygo was born on January 9, 2001 and was raised in a poor section of Osasco, an area in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Both of Rodrygo's parents were teenagers when he was born, meaning that they weren't prepared the best to raise him. Regardless, they made things work, but it took some sacrifices. For example, Rodrygo's father, Eric,
how young his dad looks.
Was a former professional footballer who played in the lower leagues of Brazil. However, he apparently stepped away from the beautiful game to make sure Rodrygo had a father figure present in his life. Now, Rodrygo had that same love for football just like his father did. He didn't have any other toys except a football and played with it everywhere throughout the house. Rodrygo was obsessed with the beautiful game, and this helped him on his journey to becoming a professional footballer. He became so good with the football that Santos wanted him to join their youth setup when he was only 10 years old. Additionally, when he was 11, he became the youngest player ever to sign with a sports brand. Then in 2017, Rodrygo signed his first professional contract with the Santos first team after agreeing to a 5-year deal. He made his debut for Santos in late 2017, but his first real impact happened in January 2018, where Rodrygo scored his first senior goal, netting a last-minute winner in a 2-1 win away against Ponte Preta. This performance gave confidence to the Santos coach at the time to put Rodrygo on the squad, and he later became the youngest player from Santos to appear in the competition. That's right, Rodrygo was breaking records and making history for Santos when the likes of the legendary Pele and Neymar Jr. played for the club. That's crazy. Anyways, 15 days after he made his debut in the competition, he scored his first goal in the tournament in a 3-1 win against Nacional at just 17, 2 months and 6 days old, becoming
these type of performances time and time again from these young Brazilian players that go on to play in Europe are really outrageous. I think the story gets way more interesting when you get into the Real Madrid part of things. But as we're seeing the numbers he was putting up in Brazil, the performances he was putting up, the way he was able to impress all of those around him, the journalists, the fans, the coaches, there was no way that Real Madrid wasn't going to come for him. There was no way. So yeah, let's carry on.
The youngest Brazilian to score in the competition at that time. Rodrygo continued to score goals and display his electrified technique at Santos, and big clubs around the world started to take notice, especially Barcelona and Real Madrid. Before making any decision though, Rodrygo was fully focused on helping Santos on the pitch, and he indeed was. He scored great goals for the club, like netting in a 2-0 home win against Sierra, and also scoring his first professional hat-trick in a 5-2 home win against Vitória. Overall, in the 17-18 season, Rodrygo had a total of 9 goals and 3 assists in 43 games, which is really good good for a teenager. That's when in June 2018, Real Madrid weren't prepared to allow another Brazilian prodigy to slip.
And that's the thing, like 9 goals. If you haven't watched the Endrick video, go watch it. I think I dropped it yesterday. It will depend on when I do this, but go watch the Endrick video. But Endrick apart, these goals as a teenager, playing against grown men, that's what these clubs come with and spend big cash. And, you know, it's worked out, especially last year in the Champions League. Even, you know, knock on wood, God forbid, even if Rodrygo doesn't go on to, you know, do crazy things in his career again, knock on wood, because I really like Rodrygo. I hope he goes on to do great things. What he was able to do in the Champions League last year will be remembered forever. The way he was able to step up for Madrid, especially against City, you know, that Trivela from Modric, against Chelsea. Like, Rodrygo is already embedded in Real Madrid history forever and ever. And it's such a beautiful thing to see from a player that came from such a, you know, a poor background, both of his parents being teenagers. Great research by Nabato again. Is again, how can you not get behind these guys? How can you not support these guys? That's why this game, the game that we watch and we love, that's why it is called a beautiful game, because of things like this, because of these type of players. Man, I just love to see things like this.
To the rivals. That's when they agreed a 45 million euro transfer for Rodrygo.
Wait, how much?
Prodigy to slip by to the rivals. That's when they agreed a 45 million.
45 million euros, tough.
Euro transfer for Rodrygo, with him set to join Los Blancos in June 2019 when he was 18 years old. Like I mentioned, Real Madrid didn't want to let go of another top Brazilian talent, like what happened to Neymar when he decided to join Barca instead of that.
Real Madrid have really been on their revenge tour. Real Madrid have really been on a revenge tour ever since they lost Neymar, man. Oh my god. Even though I was young, I was still young to remember, so I was still old enough to remember the hype around Neymar. I wanted Neymar so bad at Real Madrid. When he joined Barcelona, I literally cried, and I'm glad Real Madrid are going all out to sign Endrick, Rodrygo and Vini, and it's paying out so far.
So now Real Madrid made sure that they got their hands on the next two Brazilian gems, one of them being Vinicius and now Rodrygo. Anyways, Rodrygo made his first team debut for Real Madrid in September 2019 against Osasuna, and within a minute of coming on, he scored his first league goal. Rodrygo was making an instant impact for Los Blancos. Then a couple of months later, Rodrygo scored his first hat-trick for Real Madrid in a 6-0 win over Galatasaray in the 1920 Champions League campaign. This made Rodrygo the second youngest player to ever score a hat-trick in the Champions League, and also being the first player born in the 21st century to do this as well. Not only is Rodrygo making history for Real Madrid, but he's also creating history in the most historic competition of them all, the Champions League. Overall, for the 1920 campaign, Rodrygo
level of performance, can you imagine? Nah, seriously, like real talk, can you imagine a front three of Vini, Endrick and Rodrygo? That's tough.
managed to get 9 goals and 3 assists in 29 games. Also, his 2 goals in 19 La Liga games played a small part in the successful La Liga campaign for Los Blancos, where they ended up beating Barcelona to win the league title. Overall, for his first season at Real Madrid, it wasn't anything too crazy, but it was a good start for someone who is still in his teenage years. Now, the 2021 season didn't go well for Rodrygo. He did have some good moments in the season, like scoring a winning goal in a 3-2 victory over Inter Milan in the Champions League, but other than that, Rodrygo didn't do much. In fact, his total stats for the season ended up being only 2 goals and 8
That's not looking too good.
assists in 33 games, a definite downgrade from his first season at the club. There were several Spanish reports this time that started to call Rodrygo Gareth Bale's shadow, due to both having a minimal impact on Real Madrid. Difference is, Rodrygo is an upcoming youngster who wanted to prove himself at the biggest club in the world, while Gareth Bale didn't care anymore and just wanted to play golf all day. Additionally, there were a ton of people on social media talking about how the 2 Brazilian talents that Real Madrid signed, Vinicius Jr. and Rodrygo, were flops, and Real Madrid.
And see, this is the thing, and why, you know, I support and react to Rodrygo and Vini so much. People were so quick and so willing to call these 2 players flops after only, what was it, Vini's second season and Rodrygo's first year, or second and third year respectively. These are players that are so young, and that's why what they did last year in the Champions League to me was so remarkable. So remarkable. Because they shut down everyone. These 2, they like in the summer, they put their heads down, they did the hard work, they came back that season and they shut down everyone. And you have to love to see things like this, because this is part of the reason why this is why this sport, football, is the greatest sport in the world, and why it's called a beautiful game. You have to love it.
Madrid should cut their losses and sell them. However, in hindsight, it's a good thing that Real Madrid kept these two, because they're killing it right now. Anyways, Rodrygo's future at Real Madrid was up in the air while Zinedine Zidane was still coach. However, with Zidane departing and Ancelotti coming in, Rodrygo's game completely changed for the following season.
Shout out to Ancelotti as well. Like, the amount of confidence he put on these two guys, man. Shout out to Ancelotti.
He became more effective. Real quick before we talk about Rodrygo's transformation under Ancelotti, please remember to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and it means a lot.
Show Naruto some love, man. These videos are amazing.
So thank you. Now, unlike Vinicius, Rodrygo has never been a nailed-on starter for Ancelotti's Real Madrid. However, he's been clutch when it mattered. In the last remaining games of La Liga, Real Madrid were in a title race to win the league, but they were down 2-0 to Sevilla. Rodrygo then came on at halftime and scored an important goal against Sevilla to inspire Real Madrid to make a comeback and win this important game 3-2. Then, a couple of weeks later against Espanyol, he scored 2 crucial goals and a 4-0 win to ensure that Real Madrid win their 35th La Liga title. Additionally, in the Champions League quarterfinals, he came on as a substitute in the second leg against Chelsea when they were down 3-0. However, Rodrygo scored a volley to send the game into extra time, where Benzema scored the winner and allowed Real Madrid to progress to the semifinals. Then, in the historic semifinal against Manchester City, Real Madrid were down 5-3 on aggregate. However, in the 89th minute, Rodrygo gave Real Madrid hope as he scored a goal to bring the game within 1. Then, in the 91st minute, Rodrygo completed an almost impossible comeback to level the tie and send the game into extra time. That's when Real Madrid got a penalty.
These moments are literally giving me chills. Like, honestly, that's to be called a flop, and then for next season to come through, and as we're seeing now, clutching up in key moments. You love to see it.
Karim Benzema took it and scored. Benzema did offer Rodrygo that penalty, by the way, but Rodrygo told Benzema to take it as he's the designated penalty taker, and he didn't want to be selfish and go for the hat-trick. Rodrygo really put the team before himself. You gotta respect that. Then Real Madrid went on to win the Champions League that season after defeating my club Liverpool 1-0. So Rodrygo's crucial goals in the knockout rounds was pretty much the reason why Real Madrid won the Champions League. Rodrygo really went from a player that Spanish reporters
Vini, Benzema, Rodrygo, Modric, and Camavinga, and Courtois, the 6 key players to Real Madrid winning the whole thing last year.
wanted Real Madrid to get rid of, to a cult hero. Rodrygo's redemption arc is unreal. Anyways, overall, Rodrygo got 9 goals and 10 assists in 49 games.
Still not the most impressive stats, but 19 goal contributions and coming through clutch in key moments. Come on, you have to love that. And again, he's not even 21 yet. He's not even 21 yet, so give him some time.
Tremendous improvement from the season prior. Let's transition to the World Cup, where Rodrygo probably had the biggest setback he's ever faced. Rodrygo didn't have the best of tournament.
Yeah. The World Cup was horrible. I know that Rodrygo, I was pissed at him. Yeah, the World Cup was horrible. Yeah.
Despite him getting an assist in the 1-0 win over Switzerland in the group stages. However, as we all know, Brazil were the favorites to win the World Cup. However, their journey got cut short in the quarterfinals where they lost to Croatia on penalties. And a big reason for this loss is because of Rodrygo, since he was the first penalty taker for Brazil, and his poor penalty ended up getting saved. This definitely increased the pressure for Brazil, and when Marquinhos missed later on, it was all over for them at this World Cup. And it all stemmed from Rodrygo's penalty miss. However, instead of Rodrygo laying this moment...
Not all stemmed from Rodrygo's penalty missed, but a big part of it was definitely Rodrygo's penalty miss. Let's not put all the blame on Rodrygo.
Define his career. He's playing better than he has ever before in the 22-23 season, with him having 14 goals and 11 assists in 49 games so far.
And this was what I also said about Vinny. These two are now putting up big boy numbers. Big boy numbers. 25 goal contributions. Come on. Pardon me, 25 goal contributions. Big boy numbers.
This is the first time Rodrygo has gotten double digits in both goals and assists, which shows that Rodrygo is continuously improving as a player. He's also scored important goals for Real Madrid this season, with him scoring a brace in a 2-0 away victory over Chelsea in the Champions League quarterfinal second leg, which ensured that Real Madrid will be going to the semi-final to try and retain the trophy. As we can see though, Rodrygo didn't let this poor World Cup moment define him, as he is still having his best season ever in his career. In my opinion, the world overlooks how talented Rodrygo is because of how good Vinicius is doing recently with Real Madrid. However, Rodrygo Rodrygo is still a superb player on the pitch and has already written his part in Real Madrid history. With him only being 21 years old, he will only continue to play for Real Madrid for many more years. And I wouldn't be surprised if Rodrygo becomes one of the best players in the world along with his Brazilian counterpart Vinicius Jr. After all, Rodrygo is still so young and is already worth 80 million euros, and it's only going to go up from here for him. Honestly, I just can't wait to see what the future holds for this exciting Brazilian talent. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you want to learn about another
Facts from Nabuto. As usual, guys, go and subscribe to him afterwards if you want to. This is the end of the video. Do all the good stuff for me, please, to help the channel grow. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys soon.